Welcome to Starbound. My name's the Voice Ogre, and I'll be your narrator today. Nearly 500 supporters get early access to our stories, including brand new stories of Sunspire Academy, which I happen to do, and Freyrin and Rimiki. If you'd like to unlock early access and support new episodes and future series, tap Join below to become a Starbound member. Now, let's get into today's story. Jaden Radwan had killed 18 beings in his career as a pet. Not directly, of course. That would blow his cover. But when you're the one who notices the bomb under the ambassador's chair, or the poison in the Duke's wine, or the fact that the diplomatic escort is actually 3 assassins in a very convincing costume, well, the math adds up. 18 threats were neutralized. 18 times he'd saved his owner's life while pretending to be a well-trained animal. Today felt like it was going to be 19. The morning had started typically enough. Counselor Zalfir stood in his quarters aboard the Thoughts Cascade Like Water spaceship. A rather long-winded name. Jaden was glad that he wouldn't have to repeat aloud, given his status as a pet. Counselor Zalfir was attempting to teach Jaden a new trick while simultaneously handling 3 different crisis calls.
"Sit,"
Zalfir commanded, making an elaborate hand gesture.
"Come now. The training manual says humans respond well to clear visual cues. Sit."
Jaden sat. Not because of the command, but because it gave him a better view to read the classified communique on Zalfir's desk. Something about unstable elements at the Peace Summit and recommend extreme caution. The kind of bureaucratic understatement that usually meant someone was about to die. This made Jaden's thoughts cascade like water, and he wondered if Zalfir had even fully read the caution report.
"Good human."
Zalfir produced a protein cube from his robes. Jaden had started to view protein cubes as the sole source of evil in the universe.
"Such a clever pet. It's almost like you understand."
His comm unit shrieked.
"What do you mean the Karathi brought their entire fleet? It's supposed to be a peace summit!"
Jaden accepted the protein cube with fake enthusiasm, making happy noises while mentally calculating its nutritional value out of boredom. 45 grams of processed soy, enough synthetic flavoring to strip paint, and about as much actual nutrition as the packaging it came in. The things he did for his species. He should have been a mechanic, rather than an undercover bodyguard for this extremely ditzy counselor. 20 minutes later, the Cateran's Thoughts Cascade Like Water diplomatic transport ship shuddered against Harmony Station's docking clamp like a drunk trying to parallel park. Inside the airlock, Jaden checked his reflection in the polished steel. Scruffy enough to look harmless, alert enough to spot trouble, silent enough to be furniture. Perfect.
"Absolute catastrophe waiting to happen!"
Counselor Zalfir's voice echoed down the corridor before the inner door even opened.
"The Karathi didn't just bring their whole fleet. They came in warships to a peace summit. That's like bringing a flamethrower to a birthday party."
Jaden thought a flamethrower at a birthday party would be kinda cool. But of course, he didn't voice this opinion. The counselor burst through the airlock, all 7 feet of him wrapped in robes that probably cost more than the planet's defense budgets. The fabric reeked of Katrin's privilege, a cloying blend of bloom perfume and the sharp, sterile scent of the anti-stain chemicals that protected it. It smelled like money that had never known a hard day's work. It smelled like narcissism.
"And the station,"
Zalfir continued, apparently addressing the walls.
"One accidental hull breach and we're all breathing vacuum. The escape pods don't even have enough for half the delegates. It's a morgue with canopies."
Jaden didn't disagree, of course. Jaden padded silently behind him, cataloging threats with the efficiency of a machine designed for war. Which, technically, he was. Humanity hadn't survived on Death World Earth for nothing, after all. The station's recycled air tasted like stale metal and the faint, coppery tang of ozone. Someone had been messing with the life support. A classic trick to make delegations sluggish and dull-witted before a shanking. His nose caught something else, too. the acrid trace of weapons-grade plasma residue. Recent. Someone had been test-firing inside the station.
Phase 1 for the infiltration protocol, Jaden thought, suppressing a smirk. 3 months down, and these suckers still think that we're house pets. 18 kills prevented, 0 covers blown. So far.
His exosuit, scarred, battered, and ugly as homemade sin, looked like military surplus from a war nobody won. Which was exactly the point. Nobody looked twice at old gear. Nobody scanned beyond the surface, and absolutely nobody suspected the hidden compartments full of enough firepower to redecorate a small moon. The boys back on Earth called it the Trojan Terrier package. Jaden stifled a chuckle at the irony of even his suit being called a terrier.
The Korathi delegation brought their entire armada.
Zalthir repeated once more, his voice climbing octaves that made Jaden's molars ache.
47 warships! And General Throck himself, the butcher of Altair 44! Do you know what he did to the colonists there?
Zalthir stopped, remembering his audience, or what he thought was his audience.
Of course you don't understand. You're just a human, probably thinking about your next meal or where to relieve yourself.
He sighed, a sound like air escaping a punctured balloon. Jaden had to refrain from gagging, though knowing where the bathrooms were was always helpful.
At least you're loyal, supposedly. The xenobiologist swore that you'd been properly imprinted.
Jaden's eye twitched. The same xenobiologist who'd taken one look at humanity's application for the Galactic Council membership and laughed himself into a coma. The same one who'd classified them as semi-intelligent pack animals suitable for companionship and basic labor. The same one who was about to have a very bad day when Phase 3 hit, and every pet human in the galaxy suddenly revealed they'd been running the longest con in interstellar history. But that was another problem entirely. Today's problem was the maintenance worker who'd just passed them twice in the same corridor. Wrong species for the shift schedule. Wrong gate for someone who actually fixed things. And definitely wrong bulge under the coveralls, whereas Alani's secondary arms would be holding something that wasn't a wrench.
Inside help, Jaden thought. Has to be. You don't get maintenance credentials and catering access without someone on the inside. This is bigger than just a few freelancers.
Station security checkpoint loomed ahead. The Nir Saleth guard waved Zalthir through with barely a glance, then turned its compound eyes on Jaden.
Need to scan the animal,
it buzzed.
Please,
Zalthir huffed.
don't touch the companion. His head fur is meticulously pH balanced. The grooming alone costs.
Regulations.
The guard's scanner wand moved towards Jaden. Jaden went perfectly still. The kind of stillness that predators recognize in other predators. Inside his suit, 3 hidden devices went to work, spoofing the scanner's return signal and projecting a mild refraction field that bent the mass sensor readings into harmless background noise. To the guard's equipment, he registered as exactly what his fake biotag claimed, 60 pounds of docile primate with the threat level of a stuffed toy.
Clean,
the guard grunted, already losing interest. Nobody ever really looked at the pets. They hadn't gone 10 meters before Zalthir was squawking again.
Are you listening to me?
Zalthir asked as they walked.
Of course you're not. I forgot that you don't understand complex speech patterns. The xenobiologist assured me that humans respond well to simple commands and occasional treats. Speaking of which,
he produced another protein cube from his robes.
Good human, you want another snack?
Jaden's eye twitched, but he accepted the cube with the enthusiastic sound that might have been mistaken for gratitude. He wasn't sure how much longer he could realistically withstand having his head patted by beings who thought opposable thumbs were humanity's greatest achievement, and being referred to as the counselor's adorable security pet. The pay, though. The pay was astronomical. Enough to buy his own quiet tropical moon. One with actual oceans and no sentient fungi trying to sell him timeshares or weird shit like that. As they approached the Grand Hall's antechamber, Jaden caught sight of another human pet. A woman in her 30s wearing the degrading collar of House Mexteta. Their eyes met for a fraction of a second. She blinked twice, tapped her collar, then scratched behind her left ear. "Station compromised. Multiple hostiles. Execute contingency 7. Jaden responded by yawning and stretching, his right hand forming a brief shape against his thigh.
Acknowledged. Maintaining cover. Good hunting.
The entire exchange took less than 2 seconds. To anyone watching, it looked like two pets noticing each other with mild animal interest before moving on. Finally, they entered the Grand Hall proper, and Jaden immediately cataloged 20 ways the room was a kill box. Crystal chandeliers hung from smart fiber cables. One signal would drop a half-ton of razor-sharp art onto the crowd below. Balconies ringed the space with clear lines of fire and zero cover. Windows overlooked the void, because nothing said diplomatic security like the promise of explosive decompression. The other delegations had already arrived, transforming the space into a zoo exhibit designed by committee. Ambassador Krexteta waited with her actual pet, a 6-legged creature that looked like someone had given a twitchy iguana a skin fungus and too many legs. Jaden hoped he wouldn't have to get close enough to the creature to touch it, or the skin flakes it was shedding everywhere.
Counselor!
Krexteta's voice was all clicks and chittering harmonics.
I insist our companions have a proper introduction. Socialization is so important for their development.
Jaden was gonna ask for an extra tropical moon thrown into his goddamn retirement package for this. He found himself sitting on the floor while the 6-legged anxiety lizard attempted to climb him. Its claws found every gap in his exosuit with unerring accuracy, causing Jaden considerable discomfort.
Ambassador Krexteta!
Zalthir called out.
How wonderful to see you survive your journey through pirate-infested space.
Counselor!
The real Krexteta replied, her compound eyes swiveling to focus on Jaden.
I see that you've brought your human pet. How novel. Does it do tricks?
Humans born through mimicry,
Zalthir explained with the arrogance of someone who'd skimmed a xenobiology textbook once and thought himself an expert.
He copies my movements. It's quite endearing, really. Though he does have this odd habit of checking corners and doorways. Residual hunting instincts, I suppose.
Behind them, something rumbled in what might have been laughter. The Karathi delegation had arrived. 4 beings that looked like bears made of volcanic rock. Their voices carrying subsonic frequencies that made Jaden's bones ache.
Your pet seems agitated,
the lead Karathi observed. This one wore badges of military rank that Jaden recognized from intelligence briefings. General Throck, the butcher of Altair 44. Interesting.
Perhaps it senses a threat. They say that human instincts are surprisingly accurate.
Every 4 hours, Zalthir said, completely missing the point, responding to a question no one asked.
They need bathroom breaks every 4 hours. Very high maintenance, but surprisingly loyal once properly trained.
The suspicious maintenance worker from the corridor had transformed into a waiter, now moving through the crowd with a tray of those horrific synthesized prawns. The being's secondary arms were tucked under its vest. Only Zelani did that, and they weren't known for their catering skills. In the reflection of a serving tray, Jaden caught more movement. 3 other waiters. Same species, same telltale posture.
4 shooters, minimum, Jaden calculated. Professional spacing. They've done this before.
The lead waiter was now 3 meters from Zalthir, reaching under its vest. Jaden's threat assessment instincts screamed warnings. Time dilated the way it did when violence was about to occur, when tragedy and mayhem were about to erupt in a firestorm of chaos. The waiter's arm emerged holding a Nexus-class disruptor, military-grade, the kind that turned organic matter into abstract art and philosophical questions.
Jaden moved. To the assembled dignitaries, what happened next looked like the human pet was having a seizure. To anyone who'd seen human combat footage, it was bodily poetry written in violence and profanity. A testament to humanity's ability to use their body as a lethal, mesmerizing weapon. Jaden's first move was to grab a serving fork, Catherine's formal dinnerware, basically a trident, and hurl it with enough force to pin the assassin's primary arm to a support column. His second move was to vault over a refreshment table, sending synthesized prawns flying like pink shrapnel. His third move was to tackle the would-be killer, wrestling it to the ground. The would-be killer screamed something that the universal translators gamely attempted to parse as,
"How engage in improbable procreation with your maternal genetic donor? Get off me, you sack of dung!"
"Threat neutralized," Jaden barked, his voice cutting through the chaos like a plasma cutter through butter.
"Secondary shooter, balcony level, 40 degrees left. Karathi General, get your people down! Somebody who isn't completely fucking incompetent, please secure the exits!"
The room froze. Not because of the violence. Half the species present considered assassination attempts a form of aggressive negotiation. It froze because the human had spoken in fluent Galactic standard, with what appeared to be an Irish accent.
"You,
Zothir's throat sacs pulsed in shock.
you can talk." "No shit, I can talk."
Jaden yanked the disruptor from the pinned assassin's hand and checked its charge. Full cell. Professional kit.
"I have 3 degrees, speak 16 languages, and solved your stupid puzzle lock apartment door in 12 seconds. Now move! This joker brought friends."
As if on cue, the windows exploded inward. 5 more assassins repelled through. No, wait. Jaden recognized the lead figure. Kadim Worosk. Ex-military, current freelance problem solver for whoever paid best. The galaxy's worst-kept secret about humans had finally reached the professional killer community.
"So, the rumors are true,"
Worosk called out, his forearms spreading wide.
"They sent a Death Worlder to play dress-up."
Kadim. Jaden sighed. Of course it's you. Still taking contracts from bottom feeders?
Still pretending to be a lapdog?
Worosk's team spread out with practiced efficiency.
"At least I have dignity."
You have 4 arms and still can't juggle. Shut the hell up. The dignitaries scattered like startled birds, their screams harmonizing across 12 different vocal ranges. The Shikari ambassador's frail, trembling body released a shriek that resonated at a pitch that shattered 3 champagne flutes. Jaden dove behind an overturned table as plasma fire scorched the air where he'd been standing. The sharp hiss of superheated air mixed with the ozone stench of energy weapons. In one smooth motion, he'd acquired 2 more weapons from fallen security guards and was returning fire with an accuracy that suggested either extensive training or misspent youth.
"All right, everyone listen up!"
Jaden shouted over the cacophony.
"Welcome to Jaden's impromptu survival seminar. Today's lesson, why humans are not pets."
He rolled left, fired twice. 2 assassins dropped. The plasma bolts caught them center mass, turning expensive tactical gear into modern art.
"Lesson 1. Humans come from a Class 15 death world."
Another roll, another shot. A 3rd assassin tried to flank. Poor choice.
"That means that we evolved on a planet that actively tried to kill us."
The flanker discovered what close-quarters combat with a human meant. Spoiler, it meant reconstructive surgery.
"Every single day."
Very educational. Didn't know you picked up substitute teaching as a sidekick.
Worosk commented, laying down suppressive fire.
"Do you take questions?" "No."
Jaden vaulted over a decorative fountain, using a floating holodisplay as a springboard.
"Lesson 2. We're pursuit predators. Do you know what that means?"
He landed behind 2 more assassins who were definitely reconsidering their career choices.
"It means we can run your ass down until you die of exhaustion. Marathon? That's just Tuesday for us.
Counselor Zalthir, huddled behind a pillar, watched his pet orchestrate violence with the casual efficiency of someone organizing a filing system.
But the xenobiologist said that... Lesson 3!
Jaden continued, now dual-wielding plasma rifles like some sort of demented action hero.
We pack bond with anything. Rocks, plants, cleaning robots. And you know what? I actually liked you, Zalthir. You're neurotic, you're condescending, but you tip well. And you always ask about my day, even though you thought I couldn't understand you.
Warisk made a tactical error. He grabbed a hostage. Worse, he grabbed Crixtheta's actual pet, the six-legged anxiety lizard that had so recently been Jaden's climbing frame. The creature's distress call was a sound that bypassed the ears and went straight to the evolutionary hindbrain. Jaden's expression went from mildly annoyed to absolutely done with this shit. The gross little creature may have been, well, despicable, but it was friendly in a dopey, lovable sort of way, and Jaden felt that no harm should come to it. Crixtheta screamed in fear for her beloved pet. Warisk laughed cruelly, roughly backhanding the creature's stomach to make its skin shed like snow.
Nobody!
Jaden growled, advancing despite the disruptor pressed to the creature's head.
Hurts the pets. That's a war crime where I come from. It's an animal,
Warisk said, backing away, smirking at Crixtheta's despair.
Do you think Crixtheta doesn't have enough credits to get a new one? Well, to be honest with you, I just like watching rich people squirm over useless little trinkets.
Jaden glared.
We're all animals, buddy. Some of us are just better at it.
Jaden threw both rifles, not at Warisk, but past him. The assassin instinctively tracked the weapons, a fraction of a second's distraction. Jaden covered the distance between them like physics was a polite suggestion. His hand found Warisk's primary wrist, twisted, and suddenly the disruptor was pointing at the ceiling. His other hand was already working, finding pressure points with the lethal accuracy of someone who had studied far too much alien anatomy in the late hours of the night when there was nothing else to do.
Night-night,
Jaden muttered as Warisk collapsed, his nervous system rebooting.
You overpriced, oafish excuse for an assassin. I bet your employer's real embarrassed right now.
The creature scampered free, chirping what was probably either gratitude or a dissertation on trauma. Jaden gave it a gentle pat before turning to survey the room. Station security had finally arrived, and they did not look happy. A dozen guards in full tactical gear, weapons trained on the one being in the room holding weapons and surrounded by bodies.
Drop the weapons!
The lead guard barked.
Oh, come on!
Jaden groaned.
I just saved everyone's ass here!
One of the guards startled.
It can talk?
Jaden pursed his lips.
Yes, I can talk. Now let me explain.
The lead guard wasn't easily swayed. Many years of showing up too late to threats he should have already caught and then overcompensating for the aftermath will do that to a man.
I said drop them now!
Jaden carefully set down the disruptor, raising both hands. Well, this was going to be awkward to explain.
Stand down!
Zalthir's voice cracked like a whip. The counselor emerged from cover, robes singed but dignity blazing.
This being is with me. He is my security consultant.
Jaden looked at Zalthir with surprise. He hadn't expected Zalthir to think so quickly on his feet, nor stand up for Jaden so vehemently.
Counselor,
the guard said carefully.
That's a human. It's holding military-grade weapons. There are bodies of assassins who tried to kill me.
Zalthir's throat sacs pulsed with indignation.
This human, this person, saved every life in this room. Lower your weapons, or I will have you assigned to waste reclamation on a mining asteroid.
Zalthir turned to Jaden.
Thank you. Please, explain everything to us.
The guards exchanged glances. Slowly, weapons lowered. Jaden walked to the miraculously intact beverage station and poured himself something green and probably alcoholic. His hands were perfectly steady. The same couldn't be said for anyone else in the room, especially Zalthir, considering how much of a social and political risk he just took for Jaden.
Right,
He said, taking a sip and immediately regretting it.
Christ, this tastes like paint thinner.
He set down the glass and surveyed the assembled dignitaries.
Now that we've established that humans are sapient, capable, and really fucking tired of being offered treats, we need to talk.
You've been spying on us.
Krixtheta accused, finding her voice. In the chaos, her lizard had returned safely to her arms, bruised but alive. Most of its flaky skin had been scared straight off its body.
Recording everything.
Spying is such an ugly word.
Jaden pulled out his datapad, its surface flickering with file icons.
I prefer quality assurance. And boy, do you people need some quality control.
He tapped the screen.
This datapad has a whole set of juicy details on it. I think you all should see the atrocious deals Krixtheta has been making on the sidelines.
The ambassador's color shifted through 3 shades of mortification.
That's nothing.
She chittered.
Taken out of context.
Oh, I've got context.
Jaden scrolled through more files.
3 months of context. Every dirty deal, every bribe, every private conversation where you forgot the pet was in the room. Ambassador Krixtheta selling mining rights to systems she doesn't own. The Epsilon Cartel, still pirates obviously, funded by 3 different legitimate governments to destabilize shipping lanes. Minister Glocksnari embezzling treasury funds to finance his mate's pop music career, which is objectively terrible, by the way. I have heard it. My ears bleed.
This is blackmail!
Someone shouted.
It's leverage,
Jaden corrected.
Humans call it diplomacy.
Very common for all our political and social structures. Now, you've got 2 choices. Option 1. Everyone sits down and we negotiate in good faith. Real peace, real trade agreements, real solutions. Option 2. He held up the datapad. This goes wideband across every network in the galaxy. Every newsfeed, every social platform, every government database. Your choice.
You're bluffing.
General Throck rumbled.
The legal ramifications alone.
Jaden tapped the pad. A new voice filled the air. Throck's own, discussing something called Operation Glassmaker in loving detail.
Okay.
The general's rocky hide actually paled.
We'll talk. Everyone will talk.
I thought you might see it that way. Jaden scrolled to another file. But wait, there's more. Minister Glocksnari. This one's for you. A screeching synth-pop track exploded from the speakers, with lyrics that translated roughly to, "My gaseous lover, you inflate my heart sacs." The minister turned a shade of purple previously unknown to science.
Okay, turn it off!
Glocksnari wailed.
I'll negotiate. I'll return the money. Just please, no more of this horrific humiliation ritual.
See? Diplomacy.
Jaden tucked the pad away.
Conference room 3, 10 minutes. Anyone who's not there, I start uploading. Beginning with a music video for Tentacles of Desire. Yes, Glocksnari, there is a video. And a very saucy little dance routine. Did you come up with that? Very mesmerizing movements you did.
The minister made a sound like a deflating balloon filled with regret. Over the course of many hours, Jaden negotiated for his species' right to be accepted on the Council, and for the current powers in Council to implement safe business and political practices, thus creating a much safer landing spot for humanity as a whole on the Council. As the dignitaries filed out, Zalthir approached Jaden. Jaden couldn't believe it. Zalthir looked more nervous than normal. In a way, Jaden would sort of miss the naivete Zalthir had toward him. Zalthir was condescending and demeaning, as he was innocent and oblivious. That is to say, he couldn't help the way he was. And all things considered, He had done his best to treat Jaden very well.
I believe that I owe you an apology,
The counselor said carefully.
and a significant raise. You owe me a vacation, is what you owe me.
Jaden replied, finally letting exhaustion creep into his voice.
Somewhere with a beach, and no assassins, and definitely no synthesized prawns or frickin' protein cubes. I thought that you couldn't taste them. I thought that human taste buds were too primitive to... They taste like rotten fish and cat piss.
Jaden shuddered. I've been pretending to eat them for 3 months. Do you have any idea how many I've had to hide in plant pots? Zalthir's throat sacs fluttered in what was half laughter, half a cry of realization.
Yes, the phone in my office hasn't been doing too well.
Jaden shrugged.
Yeah, sorry about that.
3 hours later, the peace accords were signed. It was the fastest diplomatic resolution in galactic history. Motivated entirely by the collective desire to get the terrifying human out of the room as quickly as possible. As they walked back to the ship, Zalthir found himself walking beside Jaden rather than ahead of him.
What you did back there,
The counselor said.
the recordings, would you really have released them?
Jaden grinned, the expression that had evolved to bare teeth as both threat and promise.
Nah, violates about 15 privacy laws and would really blow our leverage. But they didn't know that. And humans are really good at bluffing. You would have had to push us a lot farther in order to release such records. How do you think that we convinced the galaxy we're harmless pets in the first place? That was intentional.
Let's just say the Galactic Protection Agency has a very thorough infiltration protocol. It took us 3 years to establish the harmless companion species cover story. We've got operatives in half the major houses now, all playing lapdog while gathering intel.
But why?
Because nobody guards their words around pets. Nobody encrypts their data when the only witness has a collar. We'll learn more about galactic politics in 3 years of belly rubs than 50 years of formal diplomacy would have gotten us.
And now you've blown your cover.
Nah, this was always the endgame. Phase 1, infiltrate as pets. Phase 2, prove our worth in a crisis. Phase 3, Jaden's grin widened. Equal partnership, with hazard pay.
And dental,
Zalthir added.
you should have dental. I remember when I had to take you to get your wisdom teeth removed.
Jaden laughed. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, comprehensive dental. These protein cubes really did a number on my molars. They reached the ship. Jaden paused at the airlock. Hey, Zalthir. Thanks for standing up for me back there, with security. You didn't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. Suppose it's only fair, considering how many times I've dispatched attempts on your life. Zalthir paled.
Are you serious? By the void?
Jaden chuckled. Don't worry about it, my friend. The counselor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, sobered by the word friend.
You saved my life, multiple times. It seemed appropriate. It is strange not to view you as a pet, but I hope it is okay that I still view you as a companion. As an equal, this time.
Of course. Still,
Thanks.
Jaden stepped through, then turned back.
Oh, and the next time that someone offers me a treat,
I am going to bite their hand off. Fair warning.
Noted.
As the ship departed Harmony Station, news of the incident spread through quantum relays and gossip networks faster than light itself. The human who'd been masquerading as a pet. The companion animal who single-handedly prevented an assassination and brokered a peace deal through sheer audacity and borderline illegal surveillance. Within a week, 3 things happened. First, the Galactic Council issued a formal apology to humanity and fast-tracked their species for full membership. Second, the market for human security consultants, exploded overnight. Turned out everyone wanted their own terrifying Death World Guardian. And third, The Cateran's Imperial Xenobiology Institute quietly updated their database entry on humans. The new classification read, sapient, highly intelligent, approach with caution and respect. Under no circumstances offer treats. Update. They bite. In a bar at the edge of known space, Jaden Radwan raised a glass of something that tasted much better than paint thinner this time. Around him, a dozen other humans in various states of employment shared knowing grins. "To Phase 3, one of them proposed. "To Phase 3, they echoed. Outside the bar's viewport, the stars wheeled on, indifferent to the small revolution taking place below. But in the diplomatic halls and corporate boardrooms across the galaxy, powerful beings were learning an important lesson. Never, ever underestimate the humans, especially the ones from Ireland.